Good morning, Twitch.tv. Good morning to YouTube as well. And, of course,
let the record show that this viewer was here first.
good morning, mini Motorways. We are here in New York, by which, of course, we mean Manhattan. We've got Central Park with which to deal. Samurai Sam was here first, and he asks a question based off the starting soon screen, which we will show right here. Samurai Sam wishes to know why the _Goog is not a notary public in New Hampshire. I don't know why Sam picked New Hampshire, although it is true that I am not a notary public in New Hampshire. The reason I am a notary in so many states is those are the states where my company does business, and I do like court reporting and stuff, and you need to be that in order to do that. The states in which the _Goog is a notary public are Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, and Maryland, because that's where the company is and where I had to go to get the initial training. So the Goog is a notary public in those places. As to why not New Hampshire, we don't have an office there, and there are laws. Yeah, you made an assumption. You thought there was Rhode Island. You thought there was Vermont. No, this is not the case. Oh, it is fun with notarial trivia on Gimmimimim this morning, which, okay, fine. That's a thing one can do. So yeah, TLDR, your company needs to have an office, or you need to have a business address in a place in order to be a notary in that place, and we just don't have business addresses in Rhode Island, New Hampshire, or Vermont. So whenever I cover a job there, we have to get somebody who is a notary in one of those states to be like, hey, can we borrow you for just a second to get this motherfucker here to promise not to lie to us? And then the motherfucker sometimes, often, regularly lies. It's an open secret among litigators and attorneys and that sort of thing, is that people do just lie. They say things that are not true in service of their case and their situation. Because, if let's say hypothetically, I'm suing somebody who made the bolt that failed on my roller coaster that collapsed and cost me a whole bunch of money, I'm going to say, of course, I absolutely treated and maintained my roller coaster with the best of integrity and always and forever the best quality treatment forever. Even if you, in fact, one time sprayed it with Johnny's shitty hope your roller coaster don't fall apart sauce. And that's it. That's all you did. But you're going to say you did it absolutely, completely, totally fine, because otherwise, well, you wouldn't have a lawsuit now, would you? This is a thing. All right, we got this pink business way the hell down here. That's kind of a pain in the ass. Let's run this ridiculous pink road like so. This ridiculous pink road will go just like that. These two pink houses will probably fail, honestly, to support this business. Between the length of the road and the railroad crossing we've got here, yeah, these two pinks are not going to be sufficient in order to sustain this business forever. But they might do it now. For the moment, they're going to be fine. Long term, again, we're kind of doom screwed, but, it's mini Motorways. Long term, everything is doom screwed. Hey, it's the falling American Empire. Medium term, everything is doom screwed. Oh, wait. Bang quote horrors. It has been 0 days. My bad. Let's take a motorway and consider immediate deployment, because I am so convinced that these two pinks are not going to support this business that it's there. Sam asks why I don't talk as much about All Elite Wrestling. Is it not as good as it used to be? I mean, short answer, yes. Short answer, AEW is not as amazing a product as it once was. I still watch just about every Dynamite and every pay-per-view, and that's about it. it has settled in as a very good, a reliably very good, very well executed professional wrestling show. And, like, there are much worse things in the world than a reliably very well executed professional wrestling show. Lately, AEW has seemed like, okay, in the beginning, everything was void. God saw all that emptiness and he really got annoyed. Nope, wait, that's a reduced Shakespeare Company reference. In the beginning of All Elite Wrestling, it seemed to me like they were trying to be every kind of wrestling show for every kind of wrestling fan. Like, you would have your cheesy Southern style angles, and you would have your hard-hitting modern indie stuff, and you would have your Ring of Honor tributes, and you would have your lucha, and you would have a little bit of everything on your wrestling show. And then, it would be good and fun. And lately, it's not that AEW has stopped doing that. It's that they're more what if WWE was good. And listen, I grew up watching WWE. WWE is, unfortunately, the most popular professional wrestling company in the world. There is probably some business merit behind what if WWE was good. It's just not. I don't know. We got a problem, incidentally, and the problem is this yellow business. More specifically, it's the combined existences of this yellow and this pink business. You put them together and they don't really get along. Yeah. I don't really know what to do here, so we're going to do something bad and stupid. These pinks are going to come up this way. This is going to go down here and go there and swing out that way. And we're going to do this. I don't necessarily like doing that, but I think it's the best way to get pinks over here and keep pinks over here. And oh, hey, look, I have to move this pink on account of the... Well, actually, now that there's a second yellow here, I think we can just kind of leave this yellow house alone. AEW, when it first started, really prided itself, or at least presented itself as a company that prided itself on not doing screwy WWE bullshit with distractions and interference and gobbledygook nonsense. Like, an example. When AEW ran its first steel cage match, they made a big deal out of how they were going to do steel cage matches the way they used to be back in the old days. And the long and the short of it is that once upon a time, in the olden days of professional wrestling, a steel cage match was supposed to be, these two people have been at each other's throats for ages and ages and ages. They've been fighting forever. The only way to contain them is to lock them inside a solid steel cage from which there can only be one winner. And we're going to do that, and we're going to watch them fight, and it's going to be cool. And nobody else is going to interfere. It's just going to be these two motherfuckers in a cage having a fight, and one of them's going to win. And eventually, over the years, because WWE is bad and dumb, and they don't respect their audience very much, WWE would promote steel cages with this gimmick, and then have some screwy interference bullshit. There would be people who run in and climb up the cage and jump in and beat on the babyface. Or there would be weird nonsense fake finish type things where a dude would throw a dude through the cage. And that would be the finish of the match, so that you got all of the hype of, oh, this is going to be the final match of the feud, without having it actually be the final match of the feud and having one clearly defined winner and loser. So WWE kind of really, really, really cheapened the gimmick of the steel cage match. AEW, let's pause right there, actually, as I try to figure out what we're going to do about this green. I think what we're going to do is another truly awful thing right up here. We're just going to do a truly atrocious thing here. We're going to involve a roundabout here, I think. Yeah, because the alternative, At this point, we might as well just go up and over this pink road. So let's just go up and over this pink road, like so. So these 3 greens serve that green. So when AEW started doing their first steel cage matches, there was a lot of nervousness, frankly, that AEW would just do steel cage matches the way WWE does steel cage matches, which is to say, badly. And AEW, perhaps sensing this, went out of their way to be like, no, this is the steel cage match the way it was supposed to be. We're going to put these 2 motherfuckers in a ring. We're going to surround that ring with a whole bunch of fucking metal. And then the 2 motherfuckers are going to fight. And it's going to be good, and it's going to be fun, and it's going to be violent, and one of them's going to win. And, to their infinite unending credit, AEW did a whole bunch of steel cage matches, like a handful. They don't do them all the time, but they did a handful, where they put 2 motherfuckers in a ring, or one time they put 2 teams of 2 motherfuckers in a ring, and they surrounded that ring with a whole bunch of metal, and they had the motherfuckers fight, and then one of them won. And it was cool, and it was good, and it was violent, and that was great. However, lately, well, the last time AEW put on a steel cage match, they put 2 motherfuckers in the ring, and they had them fight. And then one of the motherfuckers had 2 of his goons and his army of interchangeable generic goons come out. And all of those goons tried to interfere in the match, until the other motherfucker had 2 of his friends come out. And those 2 friends fought. They fought off the goons. But the second motherfucker's friend betrayed him and aligned himself with the first motherfucker, smashing the second motherfucker in the head with the championship belt, causing the first motherfucker to win the wrestling match and therefore be declared the champion of the world. This is one ever so slightly astray from the original gimmick of the steel cage match. And 2, some WWE bullshit. So, how the hell are we going to get greens down to this train station, by the way? I don't know. Yeah, I don't have any better idea than this, so this is what we're going to do. Samurai Sam wants to remember Rick Steiner. Rick Steiner was a very good tag team wrestler, with his brother Scott especially, and he, you can make an argument that the Steiner brothers are a Hall of Fame worthy tag team, and Rick Steiner is also a not great individual pro wrestler who got a handful of pushes that never went anywhere, and lately he's become a bigoted dickbag. He was at a wrestling convention not too long ago where, so there are a lot of these, like, whenever there's a big or big-ish wrestling event, usually a WrestleMania or a SummerSlam or something like that, there are essentially parasites who hold conventions where wrestlers from the past who are maybe clinging to their limelight, that sort of thing, will do meets and greets with their fans, not unlike like sci-fi conventions, that sort of thing. And Rick Steiner, being a 60-something-year-old former professional wrestler, was booked to attend one of these. And also, there was a transgender wrestler. And I don't remember who this trans wrestler was. They're not really material to the story because, after all, we're remembering Rick Steiner here. There was a trans wrestler also booked to appear at this event, and Rick Steiner just tore them to shit for the horrible crime of being trans. How dare this person exist in a world that also contains Rick Steiner? What in the hell were they thinking? According to Rick Steiner. So yeah, Rick Steiner's a motherfucker. Fuck Rick Steiner. And that's about all we got. He's Braun Breaker's his kid. If you've heard of Braun Breaker, is he Rick's kid? Yeah, he's Rick's kid. WWE has recently started half-heartedly in their stupid WWE ways pushing a promising young wrestler named Braun Breaker. And if Braun Breaker sounds like a stupid name, I can't wait to tell you how it is spelled. It's stupider than that. And you would think that being the son of the person WWE will present as legendary professional wrestler Rick Steiner would be good for young Mr. Breaker. But, well, it is and isn't, because WWE doesn't let him use the Steiner name, because then they wouldn't get to own it, because WWE is and has been and always shall be fucking stupid and bad. This has been Let's Remember Rick Steiner, while also ranting about how WWE is fucking stupid and bad, and perhaps a professional wrestling company that was created in literal ideological opposition to WWE should not just be stealing their gimmicks and tricks out of habit and obligation. And yeah. So yeah, AEW is still good. One could even say that it is very good. It is. Why can't I cross this river? Hold on. Why can't I go from game? Hold on, game. I'm confused. So I've got this house right here. I want to get onto the creek. I want to get up to this tile, to this tile, to this business, right? So we go here. We can't connect. Huh? Oh, am I out of road? Oh, bridges require double road tiles, and I'm out of road. So if I get here, I have one more road tile, which is why I can do this, but I can't. Oh. Okay, well, that makes more sense than it being some horrible nightmare glitch type thing, which is what I was afraid it was. So, that's unfortunate. We're just a little bit short. Here, let me yoink some road from these yellows. And do that. So now these two greens can get over to there. Boy, that makes this bridge and this bridge and this bridge look really... and this bridge. Holy shit, this bridge. That makes all these bridges look really stupid and bad, doesn't it? Yeah. Here's another example. This is a more recent one. WWE, about going on 10 years ago now, introduced women's tag team championships, which, in a vacuum, is a fine idea. You've got a men's world champion, you've got a women's world champion, you've got men's tag team champions. In theory, you should have women's tag team champions. Unfortunately, WWE is, well, bad, and has never really had enough good women's wrestlers to justify having a women's tag team division, but, you know, it was in vogue at the time to act as though you were a company that was in favor of women. So, yeah, let's do women's tag team titles. And WWE has, in their reliable, if nothing else, ways, produced nigh on a decade now of basically terrible, unwatchable professional wrestling, centered around but also its women's tag team titles. And one of the very early women's tag teams that WWE had and promoted and put the titles on, even though they were bad wrestlers, was a team of Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. And Peyton Royce and Billie Kay were graduates of NXT, which you may remember is WWE's development thing. And they were Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, and they were known as the Iconics. They were the iconic duo in NXT, which is an actual decent name for a tag team, but then they came up to the main roster, and Vince McMahon saw them and was like, nope, you're the Iconics, god damn it! And they're also the Iconics, but like with two I's at the front, like the Roman numeral 2, so it's spelled Iconics. Again, you can trademark misspellings, children. Possible title of the episode. So WWE had this tag team, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. And they were bad, but they were, reasonably entertaining. They were funny. They were bad, but they were funny. And they won and lost some wrestling matches, all of which were bad, because again, they're bad. Just have to type out this title here before I forget it. So they had these matches, and they were bad, and they won and lost titles, and they were funny. And eventually they just kind of did the same gimmicks and jokes over and over and over again, and people kind of got a little bit sick of them, and cyclical nature of professional wrestling industry and vague horniness tastes of a 70-year-old pedophile named Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and eventually they left WWE. I don't particularly remember if they got fired or if they quit or what. They're no longer with WWE. Again, they came to notoriety like a decade ago, like 2014, 15, 16. I saw Peyton Royce at an NXT house show in Albany, New York in like 2014. Okay? We've got, incidentally, a problem up here, and the problem is this orange business, and I think the only solution I can think of is we're going to replace that traffic light with a roundabout and toss an extra spur going up this way. So now these orange houses, which are already pulled a little bit too far in trying to support this circle and this train station, will now be pulled way incredibly too far to also support this square business. But hey, we also got this orange house down here. So Billy Kay and Peyton Royce, being legitimate, very good friends and having a reasonably over shtick and gimmick and whatever, did what reasonably over shtick gimmick wrestlers do when they leave WWE, and they went to TNA. And they went to TNA, and they were now the Inspiration. Using their real names because they can't use their WWE names because WWE owns them. That's why WWE gives people WWE names. But they're now using their real names, which are Jessica McKay and Cassie Lee. Yes, I remembered that. So now they're Jessica McKay and Cassie Lee, the Inspiration. And they're doing the exact same gimmick, but with the serial numbers filed off so that WWE doesn't sue them. And they went to TNA, and they had a very mildly successful run in TNA. And then they left TNA because time goes on, and they got married, and they wanted to have children, and several years had passed now since they left WWE at the height of their fame, which, if you're being very generous, peaked in the late 20-teens. If you're gonna be very generous, you can say that in the late 20-teens, the Iconics were a meaningful duo of women's professional wrestlers who were a tag team and won the WWE Women's Tag Team titles and such and such and such. And then they went to TNA, and then they left TNA, and then they basically left professional wrestling. Again, they got married, they had children, they were out of the business. And then a few years went by, and they had their children, and they were like, hey, let's do it again. So they got back into wrestling, and they got back into the independent scene, and they got back into TNA. They were two-time TNA retreads doing the same WWE knockoff gimmick, and then they left TNA. So these are people, these two, I know nothing about them as people. These are just these people as performers. They were in WWE, were bad, had a mild run of being somewhat entertaining and successful, left WWE, went to TNA, used the same exact WWE gimmick in TNA, just with the serial numbers filed off, which is the worst kind of knockoff, by the way, where it's very obviously the thing, but we can't say the thing because we'll get sued. So they were the worst kind of knockoff gimmick in TNA. Then they left TNA, several years passed, they returned to TNA using the same terrible knockoff gimmick. They then left TNA, and the reason I'm telling this story, they just signed with All Elite Wrestling. So the company that was originally founded in ideological opposition to WWE, that centers itself around having tremendous professional wrestling above anything else, bell to bell, best in the world wrestling, has now signed two terrible wrestlers doing their two-time failed TNA ripoff knockoff gimmick of their mildly entertaining but still bad WWE gimmick, which, if you want to be very generous, was relevant 7 years ago. So to answer your question, Sam, yes, I am talking less about All Elite Wrestling. And yes, it is in part because All Elite Wrestling is not as good as it used to be. Where are we going? Got this clump of yellows here. Oh, this orange has gone circular. That's a thing that needed to happen. I'm sure they're lovely people. I'm sure they're lovely and wonderful people. They seem nice. They seem nice. They legitimately enjoy one another's company. They got a decent pop when they debuted in Australia. They're both Australian. But, Sam, a hater could say that. Fortunately, most of the haters of All Elite Wrestling are big-time fans of WWE and therefore can't spell. But, yeah. A person similarly situated certainly could say such a thing if a person were so inclined. So we got this, why are there lyrics in this allegedly lo-fi thing? Stupid lo-fi playlist. Remove from this playlist. Skip forever. Never hear that again. Let's take a bridge. We've got this train station down here, and I historically and chronically don't respect train stations, and I shouldn't, but we're going to give this one a motorway just because. It's bad. It's bad to have lyrics in songs that you're using as beds under dialogue. Because then you got dialogue fighting with dialogue. And that's dumb. That's poor sound mixing. That's audio engineering 101 to not do that. Alright, let's see here. Motorway number 3 is going to be fine. Getting out to there. I'm sure this is going to fall. We're not even at 1,000 trips. Well, I have been kind of pausing and ranting about stuff, but also we're not doing particularly well, so there's that. Here, let's take this, and we'll replace that, and we'll toss that there, and we'll do that, and we'll do that. Okay, so this business right here is totally fine. This business is fine. We got more blues coming up along here. I don't even know where they think they might be intended to go, but they're certainly not going there. Render unto me a bridge. Oh, goodness. Ow, ow. My face and head. Both my face and my head at the same time. What is this thing in my eye? Oh, it's a part of my body, which is sloughing off. Slough? I don't know. It's not supposed to be there. Ow. Oh, big stretch. How we doing? Well, we were doing pretty much fine, and then this green here went circular, and that is still pretty much fine, I think. Because we've got these 4 greens right here. You've got plenty of cars and driveways. This long road here is kind of awkward, but it's not the worst thing in the world. I think this business is actually just kind of okay. I'm a little bit more worried, obviously, about this situation here. I'm going to steal this greenhouse away from this business in order to serve these 3 nightmares. We have 3 independent green nightmares happening here. So that's lovely for us. And by green, I of course mean orange. And now we have this guy over here, but fortunately we do have a couple of oranges down here, which had previously not been doing anything. So we're just going to build a big giant motorway from due south of Central Park, like 2 tiles south of Central Park. Hold on. This yellow business has 2 houses serving it and is presently dying. What if we don't do that? What if instead we do this? So now you have 5 businesses serving you. And actually, come to think of it, that doesn't even need to be a motorway. So that can just come up here. We can kill that entirely. There. So now these 6 yellow houses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yellow houses. Wait for it. 7, 8 yellow houses. These 8 yellow houses can just kind of serve this business, and that'll be fine. This business, however, we may have to have some words with you, and those words are probably going to be, oh, fuck. I think fuck is definitely going to be one of the words we have to have with you. This orange house is kind of screwed because it can't go anywhere, except, you know, it spawns on this road and goes into the roundabout, so I guess it's fine. Yeah, okay. That isn't really going to help us with anything else, though. This yellow is going to be fine. It just needs to be caught up with its new road situation. This orange is... I'm still not happy with it. I don't know what to do about that, but I'm not happy with it. Yeah, I really don't know what to do with this orange, actually. Well, let's get these greens. Come up this way, get a couple more greenhouses to serve this green circle, ultimately. This yellow exists now, which I didn't vote for. Nobody ever consults me on these, you know, house placements. Have you noticed that? That nobody ever consults the underscore Goog on these? It's a shame. All right. These 3 blues are going to serve this business. This yellow exists. Let's kill that tile. That'll be fine. We've still got 1, 2, 3, 4 serving that circle, including one that's directly adjacent to it. I could get this orange into the roundabout. That would help maybe a little. Actually, no, I can't. We'd have to lose both of these, which... Ow, ow, ow. Ow. Hey, hold on. These 2 orange... Oh, wait a second. If I've got these 2 oranges right here, I can motorway like that. And then this yellow can actually just be served by extending this road. Having all of these go down that way. Okay, next thing is I'm gonna put these yellows right here into that, which is gonna require a brief restructuring of the pink road going down here. Is that gonna be better? I don't know. But it does get yellows going this way, which is nice. Greens here is a bit of a problem, but I can take a couple more greenhouses and just kind of sneak bridge down this way. You've gone circular, which I definitely didn't endorse. I don't think anybody's on board with that plan. And yet... oh boy. Okay, okay, so we've got these 4 oranges now. I'm gonna move motorway number 6. Yeah. We're gonna move motorway number 6, pull these 2 out of there. Give me a bunch of road. I've been a little bit road hungry for pretty much the entire episode. These 2 oranges I'm gonna feed into the roundabout to serve this business. This blue right here, we're just gonna peel a couple of blues away from. You're a green with nothing else going for you. Interesting. All of these oranges right here will go that away. So this green, I'm gonna do that, and then this is a PCTL. So these 2 greens can just kind of shoop up that away. This pink we might as well extend over to here, serve that circle. That's basically fine. You've got motorway number 2 going here, serving you. That should be okay. No real need to do anything with these 3 blues right here. I think... Yeah, no, I think this is actually just kind of settling in and being okay for a minute. Which, honestly, nobody is more surprised about that than I am. But, certainly take it. Not going to complain overly much about things being generally fine. And I will say that things are very generally fine. Although, hold on. Well, we just had some orange problems crop up. First of all, you might as well go there. This orange business exists now, so let's take motorway number 7. Get these 2 oranges to go up that way. It's now a good time to mention that I started the episode like 15 minutes early because I have to be on a Zoom call at 8. I do have to be on a Zoom call at 8, and it is presently 7:22. So let's get a third blue going down here because this has now gone circular, which is unfortunate. Actually, I think I'm going to steal all of these. We're going to have 5 blues go down there. And I'll just peel a couple of these off of here. So leave 3 going that way. Yeah. That's going to be good and fine. I got a whole bunch of oranges. Hold on. Where did I get all of these oranges? They're new. Yeah. Let's move and reposition motorway number 7. Go off here. I got another orange that spawned right here, so I'll peel a few more to serve the more desperately needy businesses in this part of the world. And still have 3 traffic lights, so it'll take me a roundabout. These yellows are starting to get a little bit angry, which, listen, I understand. I sense your frustration. Your feelings are valid. 7 orange destinations is a lot. It is. It is. It's not great. We've had a lot of orange going on in this run. It's kind of settled in to be fine. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 businesses, 4 of which are circles, and a train station. That's fine. That's good. That's a reasonable amount of orange. Sunny would be very happy. The Dutch love them. They're orange. That's true. Oh Lord. Okay. Ow, my neck. My neck and my pain, and now you're a circle? I don't think I like you being a circle. I think that's bad. I don't know how I'm gonna help or stop that, but it's a lot. How do I help and or stop that? I don't think I do. Unless, wait. What if I do something monumentally dumb? What if I do something monumentally dumb, like toss a roundabout right here, and then run these 3 pink houses down that way via the roundabout? So now there's 3 more pink houses that ultimately serve this pink circle. What if I do that? Would that be really dumb? I feel like that might be really dumb. Or it might be smart. I don't know. It might be okay. It's conceivable to me that that's not going to be horrible. I can theoretically expect that not to die. Maybe. We do have an awful lot of Garbo nonsense suddenly. But, it's okay. I now have these greens here, which can serve this train station. That's bad, frankly, but, I don't know how else we were doing it to begin with, so. These pinks go into the roundabout. These here also wind up pointing. I don't even know if there's a reason for blues to get into the roundabout, but now all of these blues. Yeah, there is no reason for these blues to get into the roundabout. They just can now. So that's good. Did something else just round itself? I thought I heard the go-y roundy sound. Let's take another bridge. This blue here is mad, or at least was momentarily. Yeah, I don't have anything for that to do. I don't have... Kind of need more blue for this business, though, because we only have the 4 of you, and I can't easily... Well, I could make it the 5 of you. We could make it the 5 of you. There. Now it's the 5 of you. Is that better? Maybe. I think I can see a world in which that's better. Do we live in that world? Buddy. I don't think we live in the world in which that matters, honestly. Because now all of my yellows are angry, and, well, hold on. I do have a fair whack of unused yellow going on. I just have to figure out its positionment. What if you 3 right there, doot, and doot, and then you zoop up thusly? If you zoop thusly, that'll save this business. And hopefully maybe have the tack-on effect of saving this business, but I think this business is just doomed. It's going to be real close. No, I think it's dead. There it goes. Okay. All right. Well, listen, it was going to happen eventually. 3,758 commuters over 137 days sure is a number. It seems like a fine and decent one. It's top 5% in the world. It is, in fact, 700 trips better than our good friend Samurai Sam. Note that Sam left when it became obvious that I was going to defeat him and cover him in shame and failure. Clearly, that's what happened. Oh, you're back. Oh, you're back. Did I hit the Samurai Slam? I did. I did, out of muscle memory, hit the Samurai Slam when we should have, in fact, hit the Chi-Chis. Good job, Goog. Good job. Today's Wordle is olive. Naturally? No? Okay, fine. The Wordle today is mango. It could be mango. There's nothing saying it's not, other than our recently discovered knowledge that it's not. But, okay. The Wordle today is foodie. Yeah. Because if you're thinking about olives and mangles? Olives and mangles. No. If you're thinking about olives and mangoes, perhaps you're a bit of a foodie. It's a double O word. That's nice. It could be whoosh. I think whoosh has an H after the W, though. No? Okay. So, it's not going to be loose, because there's no L and no E. It's not going to be moose or squirrel. It isn't kiosk. Hey, friends. Actually, what the fuck is this word? It could be tusk. I don't think it's tusk. Oh. Maybe it's boost. It could, no. Okay. Well, could be roost. It's got to be roost, right? That's the only thing it can be at this point, isn't it? Okay, it's roost. Good job, Goog. An actual good job was done by the Goog. Go away, don't tell me the answer text, because by all means, tell me the answer. Hold on, I have to boot up my work laptop. Because as previously noted, I do have to be at work. And by at work, I mean on a Zoom call in 30 minutes. So, okay. Here we go. We are at a rally race of some kind? Okay. This is Helix Plus, GSM. I don't know. I want to say France just because Le Mans? I know Le Mans is well, this kind of looks like Belgium. I know it's not, but it kind of looks like, you're listening to The Big Jam on 98.9 Belgian radio. No? No? Okay. Well, it could be Belgian radio. You don't know. Actually, someone might be able to tell me what radio station this is, but I'm going to go with Belgium just because it kind of looks like Belgium. So we are in a track and field race type place in Belgium in, I want to say the late 90s, based on the radio truck and maybe the late 90s is a little too early. Like maybe this is like 2002. All right, fine. We are in, hold on. That's an impressively tall boy. Look at the tallness of that boy. That's an impressively tall boy. Oh, an impressively tall boy is one of the titles of the episode. Okay. So we are somewhere in Belgium in, let's say, 2002. Okay. Now, there it is. I was about to draw a circle, which I was reasonably sure encompassed Belgium, but then I just found Belgium. So if we're in Belgium, we might as well say we're in Brussels. And if we're at a racetrack in Brussels, it might as well be... Mont des Arts? No, that's entirely too art museum-y. Peter S. does not recognize the language, and listen, we've never seen anything in Belgium in all the time we've been doing Time Guesser, so obviously this is a great time for the first one, right? Right? That's not right, is it? It's fine. We are at... Man, I don't know. We're in the Botanical Garden in Brussels, Belgium in 2002. That feels accurate. Would you believe it? We were not actually in Belgium. We were in Iceland in 1995. There was a flag sticker on the... Oh. There's flags on the car. Okay. All right, fine. Next. We have the Café Metropole, which is a pastisseria and gelateria. Alrighty. So that feels very Italian. We're celebrating labor. Good. It's a good thing that should have more power. Let's see here. Transito, riservato, aviacoli. Okay, so only certain cars can get through there. And again, this is exceedingly Italian. So we're in Italy. The question becomes when. If I was a person who knew things about Italian cinema, I could tell you that Frenezia del Delitto came out in 1937, and therefore this must be 1937. That having been the case... I think 37 might be a little bit early. I don't know, man. This feels 50s. This car feels 50s. We are in Rome in 1951. Yeah, that seems reasonable. That's entirely conceivable to me. Led us now to Rome. Not necessarily the ancient monument part of Rome, but more like the downtown people live here part of Rome in 1951. That is Rome in 1959. Okay, we take those. Next. La Giralda, which is... Hold on. There's a flag up here. Yeah, that's not going to help. Zagreb Cafe y Confiteria. La Giralda Especialidades. Okay, all right. So you got special shit. Good. You sell bombs and cream and chocolate and coffee and cigars and dudes. Okay. That's it's an interesting varietal shop you got there, friends. All right. I think this is something South American? South or Central America? Yeah. This is South or Central America. It's not Mexico. Okay, what flags isn't that? That's not Mexico. That's not Brazil. I don't think that's Venezuela. I don't think that's Colombia. That could be Costa Rica. I don't hate that for Costa Rica. Could be Nicaragua. I don't think that's Guatemala. I think Guatemala has green. I don't know why I think that. That's a weird thing to think, actually. But it could be Cuba. I don't think that's a Cuban flag, though. I think I've seen a Cuban flag. I think I would recognize a Cuban flag. It could be Cuba, on account of the cigars. But, okay, Sam, I recognize that this is... Hold on. If I'm convinced that this is blue, which I am, then this should be Argentina. Because this just looks like the Argentinian soccer jerseys. Okay. This is a bad series of logics. I've done a bad job here, but fuck it. We are in Buenos Aires, Argentina in... God, no, that does feel bad. That feels bad and dumb. Hold on. Back out, abort, cancel. Go with logic of crowds. And by logic of crowds, I mean Peter is smarter than me. We are in Havana, Cuba. Yeah, that feels much better. I said Buenos Aires, and then I was like, wait a second, no, actually, no. We are in Havana, Cuba in 19... Dickety Dick. We are in Havana, Cuba in 1920. That is... Okay. It's not Buenos Aires. However, if I had said Buenos Aires, would have been much better off. Also, it's 1904. If I see Latin America, but also there's a bunch of white people, it's probably Argentina or Uruguay. Good to know. Next. This looks like a fancy gilded Disney place. What's with the fancy gilded Disney place? Okay. So we've got some Asian folk, Chinese or similarly, maybe Polynesian? No, hold on. Oh, there's free wireless internet here. And also that side's in English. Huh. I can't okay, so this is the Hall of King... This is the Hall of King Tazranj Daddy. Okay. Everybody remembers the legendary King Tazranj Daddy? Okay, hi. Hi there. This is going to be a helpful sign. Because this is not English, but it's also not Chinese or Japanese. It's like Southeast Asian. There are Southeast Asian languages that look like this, such as Thai and Filipino, I think, and maybe Vietnamese. This is like we are in this part of the world. This is Southeast Asian island times. Okay. I know I've seen this language before, and I feel stupid for not being able to identify it, but Peter S. was saying Bangkok. I was going to say Manila. Bangkok's in Thailand, right? And that's like not horrendously far from here. Nope, that's Australia. That's Vietnam. That's Hong Kong. That's Sri Lanka. It's not Hong Kong. If it was Hong Kong, there would be more Chinese going on. Where the fuck is Bangkok? Where the fuck is Thailand? Hold on. Thailand's in this part of the world, isn't it? There's Bangkok. It could be Bangkok. It could be Manila. Yeah, Thai feels better. We are at some big fancy amusement park in Bangkok, Thailand. Is there a big fancy amusement park in Bangkok, Thailand? Is there like a Bangkok Disney? You know, I feel like I might be totally off base with the Disney vibes here, actually. It's just so much gold. Yeah. Okay, we are in Bangkok, Thailand. Yep, Bangkok, Thailand. In 20... Show me some phones. Somebody be looking at your phone. We got cameras. That looks like it's a phone. It doesn't look like the very most modern of phones, but it does look like a phone. All right, we are in Bangkok, Thailand in 2014. We are in Myanmar. And it turns out that this is a sacred pagoda, and therefore not Disney. Oops. But it was 2014, so I got that going for me. All right. So these are Hitler's haters? Oh, headquarters. Okay. Hitler's headquarters are an outhouse. Haha, get it. He's full. Well, okay. The boys at the front are giving their lives, buy war bonds. Okay, so we got World War II out the wazoo going on here. Presumably somewhere in the United States. Where? Wonderful question. Oh, wait. I think we have an idea. Detroit. We're in Detroit, or perhaps Etoile. We are in Etoile, which we can tell from this Michigan license plate must mean Detroit, Michigan. All right, so this is Detroit, Michigan, 1944. Yeah, 43, 44, something like that. Don't zoom in on Europe, Goog. We are in Detroit, Michigan in 1944. Doot. And doot. We are in Detroit, Michigan in 1942. Works for me. Final score 33,385. It sure was time guessing. Please ignore these big, long, dashed lines. It's fine. For today's Immaculate Grid, we need dudes who were born outside the United States, dudes who had a 300 batting average season, dudes who pitched, dudes who had a 300 career batting average, dudes who played in the Negro Leagues, and again, dudes. We need a dude. We need a dude who pitched. One dude who pitched one time. A dude who pitched is Albert Pujols. That's a true fact. Albert Pujols pitched in a game one time. It went real bad. A dude who had a 300 career batting average is, Theodore Anthony Henry Q Johnson ball game. There. Theodore Anthony Henry Q Johnson ball game. A dude who played in the Negro Leagues. Satchel Paige. I can do better than that. John Donaldson. Use a deep cut from MLB The Show. But you only played in... There we go. That one. John Donaldson. Deep cut from MLB The Show. You're a dude and you played in the Negro Leagues. Good for you, buddy. A dude who had a 300 career batting average and was born outside the 50 U.S. states and D.C. is Luis Arias. Seems reasonable. There you go. A dude who had a 300 career batting average and a 300 batting average season. Wow. A dude what's good at batting is Richie Ashburn. That seems plausible. There you go. That's a deep cut. A dude who pitched and had a 300 batting average season is, hey look, it's the Zach Greinke button, I assume. Yep. And a dude who pitched and was born outside the 50 U.S. states and D.C. would also have been Albert Pujols, but instead, Ichiro. Ichiro is a dude who was born outside the 50 U.S. states who also pitched in a game. A dude who played in the Negro Leagues and had a 300 batting average season is Buck O'Neil. Seems reasonable. Nope. Buck O'Neil. Not a batting average type hitter. I could have used Pedro, but Ichiro was a deeper cut, and also I fucked it up anyway. What do you mean Buck O'Neil never had a 300 batting average season? Grumble and fuck. Racky Jobinson was a dude who played in the Grumble. Fuck. Friends, stop me if you've heard this before. But in theory, there's no reason we shouldn't have a full and complete stream schedule this week. I don't necessarily know that that's going to be the case, but there's nothing saying it can't be. There's absolutely nothing saying we won't have a full and complete stream schedule this week. In fact, we might even be wrapping up Cyberpunk 2077 because I think we're just going to go back to Dogtown and do a few side missions and then finally meet Hanako at Embers. And, oh boy, when we meet Hanako at Embers, shit's going to pop off. Or maybe it won't. I don't know. That's apparently the end game, so we'll find out. But listen, things are things, work is work, schedules are soup. So, in theory, we'll be back tomorrow morning for another edition of Good Morning Mini Motorways. Will we actually? Man, I fucking hope so. Oh, thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful day off of work for people who get the lesser national holidays off, or just have a good day. Bye-bye.